right, so the next part is solving with the quadratic formula. Now again, this is bringing back our algebra repertoire of solving different equations. Now, the very first part to look at of the quadratic formula is called the discriminant. I don't think I spelled that right. Anyway, so it is b squared minus 4ac. And what's going to happen, and we talked about this in Algebra 1, this portion of the quadratic formula will give us an idea of the solutions, real solutions, one solution, irrational solutions. So we'll be looking at that further down the road this year. So let's just go ahead and write the quadratic formula. So again, we are solving. So it's going to be x equal negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4. Let's throw some parentheses around all this. A c, make sure you have that square root, and the fraction is underneath the entire part, 2a. So what I want you to do next is to write it 2 more times. Just like vocabulary, you guys. Write it over and over and over and over, and you will have it down. Now, so here is something I want you to recognize about the quadratic formula and the discriminant. If you take a look, we have the b squared minus 4ac. That is exactly what is underneath the radical in the quadratic formula. So we'll be using that to, like I said, to try to figure out some ideas and some information about the solutions. But again, if you calculate the b squared minus 4ac, the discriminant, then you just can put that value underneath. All right, let's practice. Now here is what is extremely important. You should always write the values of A, B, and C of the quadratic. Now, here's the thing. First things first. What needs to happen? We are to solve, so it must be set equal to 0. In order to do that on this particular problem, we need to get the 2x and the 8 to the left-hand side. So we need to do inverse operations to move the 2x and the 8 to the left. So our inverse of both those positives would be to subtract. Now I went ahead and did that in one step. I'm hoping we can follow along with that. So we get x squared minus 2x minus 8. That goes to 0, that goes to 0. We're left with 0 on the right-hand side. So what we need to do is to identify the A, the B, and the C. So in this particular case, let me just write the standard form up here of a quadratic. So in front of the x squared, in this case, the A is a 1. The B, which is in front of the x, is a minus 2. And the C is that minus 8, the constant on the right. So here again, I want you to calculate the discriminant first. So we would have b squared minus 4ac. In this case, it's going to be negative 2 to b squared minus 4, a is 1, and c is negative 8. So if we do all that, I believe we're going to get 36. 4 plus 32, yeah, 36. All right, so now we're going to do the quadratic formula. Let's go ahead and write it down again. X is equal to negative b plus minus. Now here's what I want you to realize. That is the discriminant, that b squared minus 4ac. So we already calculated what that is. What is our b value? Negative 2. Plus or minus, we figured out our discriminant. Let's write this. Our discriminant goes there. And then we have over 2 times a. How does this simplify down? Now, there's a bit to do on this one, you guys. It's 36. Do you see how that's a perfect square? It is 6 over 2. So we're going to have a solution with the plus and a solution with the minus. So if you notice in between here, let me just write that right there. We have that plus minus, so we can separate those into two different solutions. So in this case, if I simplify this down, x is equal to 4. On this one, it is -2. Okay, that's the first example. We have a couple more to do. Let's go ahead and do this one. So again, it has to be set equal to 0. So we're going to move the 5x over and the 7. So on the left-hand side, we end up with this. So our A is a 1, our B is a -5, our C is a -7. What happens? The discriminant B squared minus 4AC. So in this case, it's -5 squared minus 4 times 1, and the C is -7. So what do we get? Looks like we get 25 plus 28. I believe that is 53. So that is the discriminant. So again, we're going to be using the quadratic formula, -b square root plus minus square root, and let's just write the discriminant right here, 2a. So in this case, x would be, our b is a -5 plus minus, and our discriminant was that 53 all over 2 times 1. So what happened in this one, you guys, the square root of 53 does not simplify down at all. That would be your final answer. You do not have to separate the plus and the minus. In situations like this, you can just leave it as it is. All right. Let's go ahead and I'm going to get this one set up for you, and you guys can complete these, and then we'll call it a day. So first things first, it has to be set equal to 0. So we're going to subtract the 17x, and we're going to add a 25. So on the left-hand side, I get 16x squared. The -23x and the -17x gives us -40x. Plus 25 is equal to 0. Here we go, identifying these. A is the 16, B is the -40, C is the 25. Bigger numbers, but you can handle it. Go for it.